every legend begins with a contradiction, something that should not exist, but does. It might be a machine that defies the era it was born into, a piece of engineering that dares to answer progress with raw instinct. Today, we step into that contradiction, a vehicle that speaks fluent nostalgia yet moves with modern precision. It is the kind of machine that roars in the face of quiet efficiency, the kind that reminds us why mechanical emotion still matters. This is a story about rebellion packaged in steel, torque, and a deep V8 soundtrack. It is not just about horsepower or ground clearance, it is about attitude and identity. Some machines whisper their purpose, others shout it across mountains. This one does both. Before we start, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more stories of engineering icons, and comment below which machine you want us to explore next. Your pick might just fuel the next episode. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392-2024 begins where most off-road stories end, at the edge of reason. In a time when automakers are turning down the volume, Jeep turned it all the way up. The Rubicon 392 is not an idea from a boardroom, it is a declaration from the trail. At its heart is a 6.4-liter V8 engine producing 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, a powertrain pulled from muscle cars and tucked into a shape born for the dirt. It is the fastest, loudest, and most audacious Wrangler ever built, a machine that takes the American concept of freedom and adds a soundtrack of thunder. To understand how this vehicle came to life, we have to look back at what the Wrangler represents. The lineage of this off-roader stretches to the 1940s, when simplicity, durability, and purpose defined the military vehicles that started it all. Over the decades, the design matured, but the philosophy stayed the same, a box on wheels built to go anywhere. The 2024 Rubicon 392 stands as both evolution and rebellion. It respects its roots while ripping up the rulebook. The decision to add a V8 to the Wrangler was not casual. For years, enthusiasts begged Jeep for it. Every concept teased at auto shows sent forums into a frenzy. The challenge was never desire, it was practicality. Fitting a large V8 into an engine bay designed for smaller power plants required re-engineering almost every component around it. The chassis, suspension, and cooling system all had to be upgraded to handle the heat and stress of serious power. Jeep's engineers also had to ensure that the 392 could still tackle the trails that built its reputation. That meant water-fording capability, approach angles, and articulation had to remain intact. The Rubicon 392 achieves a 10.3-inch ground clearance and can wade through 32.5 inches of water, numbers that sit comfortably among elite off-roaders. Yet what surprises most drivers is not the capability, it is the speed. This Wrangler sprints from 0 to 60 in just 4.5 seconds, an absurd figure for a vehicle shaped like a brick and wearing 33-inch tires. That quickness changes the psychology of off-roading. It is no longer just about crawling over rocks, it is about charging through landscapes with the confidence of raw torque. The 8-speed automatic transmission manages that fury with precise shifts, and the full-time four-wheel drive system keeps power flowing to all corners. On pavement, the Rubicon 392 behaves like a muscle truck. Off it, it feels like controlled chaos. Every press of the throttle is a reminder that the internal combustion engine, at its best, can be both art and adrenaline. The exhaust system includes dual-mode valves, allowing the driver to toggle between mild rumble and full roar. The sound alone can transform a trail ride into an event. But beneath that sound is a deeper narrative. This is not just an engineering project, it is a statement. In a decade where electrification dominates headlines, the Rubicon 392 feels like a time capsule, a deliberate step backward to remind us where driving passion began. Jeep positions it as a tribute, not a trend. And yet, the existence of this V8 monster inside a Wrangler body raises questions. How long can such a machine exist? How long before regulations and fuel standards make it impossible? The Rubicon 392 answers those questions not with data, but with presence. It exists because someone at Jeep believed emotion should still guide design. It is proof that not everything valuable can be measured in efficiency. Driving it is an experience that engages all senses: the vibration through the steering wheel, the scent of hot rubber, the echo of the exhaust bouncing off canyon walls. Those sensations remind drivers why analog experiences still matter. The 2024 model refines this chaos with technology. The Selectrac full-time transfer case automatically adjusts to conditions. The adaptive damping suspension smooths the ride on pavement without sacrificing trail articulation. The interior, once Spartan, now feels refined but purposeful: leather seats, bronze accents, and a functional layout that still features exposed bolts and removable doors. Everything inside the Rubicon 392 speaks to duality: brute power meets deliberate craftsmanship. Jeep did not intend this as a volume seller. It is a halo product designed to anchor the Wrangler lineup at its wildest extreme. Yet, by doing so, it influences perception across the entire brand. It tells the world that adventure still matters, even in a digital age. The Rubicon 392 reminds drivers that freedom can still come with the turn of a key. For enthusiasts, this vehicle is validation. The company listened and delivered the ultimate off-road expression. But for the industry, it is something else entirely: a challenge to the narrative that power and conscience cannot coexist. As we look deeper, we begin to see how this machine, loud and unapologetic, fits within Jeep's broader evolution. The brand has to balance legacy with future responsibility, and that tension fuels innovation. The Rubicon 392 is more than metal, it is metaphor. It shows that the end of an era does not have to be quiet. It can roar on its way out. And as we turn toward the next segment, we will explore that tension between power and progress, how the Rubicon 392 stands both as a technological marvel and a cultural statement in a world demanding change. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392 2024 is not just a vehicle, it is a philosophical experiment about what happens when tradition collides with transformation. This second act of its story is about balance, between the pull of heritage and the push of modern expectation. The Rubicon 392 represents a brand asking itself how far it can stretch its identity before it breaks. Jeep has always built vehicles that symbolize freedom and endurance. The 392 adds a new word to that legacy: defiance. To understand why this V8 Wrangler exists at all, we have to look at the forces shaping its world. Regulations, electrification, and environmental pressures define the landscape. Most manufacturers are racing to reduce emissions and increase efficiency. Jeep is no exception. Its plug-in hybrid lineup, including the 4xe models, proves that the brand is serious about the electric transition. Yet, right in the middle of that shift, the Rubicon 392 emerges like a stubborn echo from another era. Jeep's decision to build it was not reckless, it was strategic. By creating a flagship that celebrates combustion, Jeep secured the loyalty of enthusiasts who might otherwise drift away during the electric transition. The company knew that the Wrangler community values authenticity above all. They needed a reminder that the spirit of adventure would not be diluted by new technology. The Rubicon 392, in that sense, is an anchor. It tells fans that no matter how advanced future models become, the essence of the Wrangler will remain intact. Still, this approach comes with challenges. The V8 under its hood consumes fuel at a rate that seems almost rebellious in 2024. It averages around 13 miles per gallon in the city, 16 on the highway. For many, that figure alone makes the 392 feel like a dinosaur. But numbers can be misleading. Jeep never designed this model for efficiency, it designed it for expression. In a market obsessed with range and recharge times, the Rubicon 392 measures success in miles per gallon. Its audience is small but vocal, and that audience defines much of Jeep's identity. The Rubicon 392 also plays a symbolic role within the engineering department. Developing this V8 Wrangler forced the team to rethink how the platform handles power and stress. Reinforced frame sections, stronger driveline components, and improved cooling solutions trickled down to influence future Wranglers. In other words, the Rubicon 392 acts as both an experiment and a laboratory, testing limits that benefit the entire lineup. It is the halo that justifies risk. Off-road testing also pushed the vehicle into extreme environments, desert dunes, snow-covered passes, and rocky trails. Each challenge revealed how the balance between weight and power could be managed through careful calibration of torque delivery. The 392's torque converter was tuned for immediate response, allowing it to crawl over obstacles with finesse rather than brute force. This adaptability shows that even with massive horsepower, the Wrangler's soul remains rooted in control and confidence. Beyond engineering, there is cultural meaning. The Rubicon 392 is a statement about individuality in a homogenized industry. It speaks to drivers who value tactile experience over digital insulation. When you grip the wheel and feel that V8 pulse, you are reminded that machines can still feel alive. The cabin shakes slightly at idle, the exhaust burbles in a way no speaker system can replicate. These imperfections create connection. They remind us that not every improvement is progress. Still, Jeep is not blind to the future. The company's next wave of innovation includes fully electric off-roaders that will carry the same DNA with zero emissions. The 392 sits at the midpoint of that timeline, 1 foot in nostalgia, 1 in the future. Its success is measured not just by sales but by influence. It keeps attention on the brand while electric development accelerates behind the scenes. Some critics argue that the Rubicon 392 sends mixed messages, celebrating old technology while promising sustainability. Yet, this paradox is part of its brilliance. It acknowledges the complexity of transition. Change does not happen all at once. The Wrangler 392 allows Jeep to honor its past while funding its next chapter. Its roaring V8 draws eyes and wallets, both of which help pay for innovation. Inside the cabin, every detail reinforces the theme of modern classicism. The 8.4-inch infotainment screen sits beside analog-style controls. Tactile buttons coexist with touch functions. The seats, embossed with Rubicon logos, combine luxury with durability. The bronze accents mark the 392 as something rare within the Wrangler family. Even the hood scoop is functional, channeling air to cool the engine while signaling intent. Each design choice speaks to balance, performance without pretense. Out on the trail, the experience transforms. Engage off-road mode, and the transmission recalibrates for control. The throttle response softens to allow delicate inputs. Suddenly, that massive engine becomes a precise tool rather than a blunt instrument. Jeep's engineering team calls this duality deliberate. They wanted the 392 to perform equally well at 2 miles per hour as it does at 120. Few vehicles can claim that spectrum of capability. Every test reinforces the idea that the Rubicon 392 is less about excess and more about mastery. It takes power that could easily be overwhelming and turns it into a tool of finesse. The aluminum body panels and lightweight components offset some of the mass. The suspension geometry keeps the ride composed even when pushed hard. Each turn of the wheel is a reminder that capability is not only about strength but intelligence. The result is a vehicle that can climb, sprint, and cruise with equal poise. From a marketing perspective, the 392 represents Jeep's counter-narrative to the industry. While others talk about silent efficiency, Jeep delivers emotional engagement. The contrast creates identity. It positions the Wrangler not as a competitor to crossovers but as an icon of authenticity. Every advertisement, every appearance of the 392, reinforces that message. It tells the audience that adventure is not a mode, it is a mindset. And even when that mindset becomes electric, it will still be defined by feeling, not silence. Yet, despite all the praise, there is tension beneath the surface. Jeep knows this machine cannot last forever. Environmental pressure, rising fuel costs, and shifting consumer demand mean that vehicles like the Rubicon 392 will soon fade from production. That inevitability gives this Wrangler a layer of melancholy. It is a farewell disguised as a celebration. But maybe that is what makes it so compelling, it is aware of its own mortality. When you drive the Rubicon 392, you are not just traveling through terrain, you are traveling through time. You are experiencing the last era when vehicles were powered by raw combustion emotion. And that makes every mile matter a little more. As we move into the final act, we will explore what comes next, how the Rubicon 392's legacy might shape Jeep's evolution and what its existence says about the future of adventure itself. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392-2024 enters its final chapter not as an ending, but as a declaration. This segment is about what the machine means beyond metal and horsepower, about legacy, consequence, and transition. When we look at the Rubicon 392, we see more than a V8 engine wedged into an off-road icon. We see the last shout of an era before silence takes hold. The sound of its exhaust is the sound of resistance, not defiance against progress, but a refusal to let heritage disappear without acknowledgement. Jeep understands that legacy must evolve, not vanish. That is why the Rubicon 392 exists, to remind the world what pure, analog adventure feels like before the rules change forever. The 2024 model carries that message into every part of its design. Its V8 is not a technological relic, it is the teacher. It demonstrates how power can be both chaotic and controlled, how strength can be refined into something elegant. Every inch of this vehicle speaks to that balance. The hood bulge, the bronze badging, the slightly higher ride, all tell a story of deliberate audacity. Jeep built it not to dominate sales charts, but to spark conversation. The Rubicon 392 makes us question what we truly want from driving. Do we crave efficiency, or do we crave emotion? Do we measure success in range, or in the way our pulse quickens when torque hits the dirt? These are questions no spec sheet can answer. And yet, the Rubicon 392 poses them with clarity. On the trail, it is a performer of paradox. The same vehicle that can sprint to 60 faster than most sports cars can also idle patiently while crawling up boulders. Its adaptive suspension absorbs punishment that would cripple lesser machines. Its gearing, tuned for both crawl and charge, shows that intelligence can coexist with brute force. In many ways, the Rubicon 392 redefines what off-road luxury means. It is not about soft-touch materials or tech-laden dashboards. It is about confidence, knowing that you can face any landscape and emerge with a grin. The comfort here is not about plushness, it is about trust. Jeep engineered that feeling through decades of lessons learned the hard way, on trails that do not forgive error. The 392 refines those lessons into a single, roaring manifesto. From a cultural standpoint, the Rubicon 392 is a mirror of its moment. The world around it is moving toward quiet, sustainable mobility. Against that backdrop, this V8 Wrangler feels like a rebellious piece of performance art. But art has purpose. The 392's purpose is to preserve emotion as a design principle. It forces the industry to confront a truth it sometimes forgets, that driving is not only about transport, it is about connection. Machines like the Rubicon 392 are bridges between human instinct and mechanical expression. Jeep knows that the next generation of Wranglers will be electric, perhaps even autonomous in some capacity. But before that future arrives, the 392 ensures the flame of analog excitement burns bright enough to guide the way. In interviews, Jeep engineers often describe this vehicle as a gift to enthusiasts, an acknowledgement that passion still matters in the age of algorithms. That sentiment defines its legacy. The Rubicon 392 will likely be remembered as one of the last naturally aspirated V8s ever placed in a production off-roader. It will sit in history beside milestones like the original CJ and the first Rubicon package, symbols of commitment to authenticity. When future drivers step into electric Wranglers, they will still feel echoes of the 392 in the way those vehicles respond, in the way they handle rough terrain, in the way adventure remains core to the experience. The Rubicon 392 ensures that emotion is coded into Jeep's DNA long after its engine falls silent. There is also a business dimension to this story. Jeep leveraged the Rubicon 392 to attract a very specific buyer, one who values rarity and heritage. Production numbers are intentionally limited, keeping demand high and resale strong. This strategy echoes how luxury brands maintain mystique, by offering less and meaning more. The 392's presence in Jeep's lineup also lifts the perceived value of every Wrangler beneath it. It is the psychological flagship, even if few will own it, all will aspire to it. That aspirational pull extends far beyond the showroom. The Rubicon 392 influences how people see adventure itself. It turns off-roading from a niche hobby into a lifestyle statement. Every social post featuring the 392 climbing, splashing, or sprinting reminds viewers that freedom is still mechanical, not digital. And that perception feeds directly into Jeep's identity. Even as the brand evolves into hybrid and electric platforms, that sense of rugged independence remains untouchable. But there is one more layer, the emotional aftermath. For those who have driven the Rubicon 392, the memory tends to linger. The weight of the steering, the deep vibration at idle, the surge of torque that arrives like a wave, all become sensory markers of a time before silence. When future vehicles hum quietly over similar trails, some will remember this one as the last to shout. That nostalgia is powerful currency. It ensures that even as Jeep moves forward, it never has to abandon what made it great. The Rubicon 392 becomes a touchstone, a reminder that innovation means nothing without soul. And so, when we think about legacy, it is not about the V8 itself, it is about what the V8 represents. It represents courage, the courage to build something emotional in a world obsessed with logic. It represents conviction, the belief that passion deserves a place beside progress. And it represents continuity, the bridge that carries the Wrangler spirit into an uncertain, electrified future. As we approach the conclusion, it becomes clear that the Rubicon 392's greatest achievement is not its speed or sound, but its symbolism. It embodies the art of knowing when to go out on top, when to celebrate the past loudly before embracing the quiet that follows. It is not the end of adventure, it is the proof that adventure evolves. And that is the power of the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392, 2024, a vehicle that turns transition into triumph. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392, 2024 leaves behind a message as loud as its exhaust note, that even in an age of quiet technology, emotion still drives innovation. Its story has been one of defiance, evolution, and acknowledgement, a salute to the past and a signal to the future. Across its segments, we have seen how the Rubicon 392 challenged convention by merging classic power with modern precision, how it redefined performance not through numbers alone but through the feeling it delivers. In the grand narrative of automotive progress, this vehicle is more than a machine, it is a punctuation mark between eras. Its 6.4-liter V8, with 470 horsepower, is not just an engine specification, it is a heartbeat, a sound that carries history through the mountains and deserts where the Wrangler name was built. The 2024 Rubicon 392 stands as proof that progress and passion can coexist if we allow them to. It teaches us that heritage does not have to be abandoned for the sake of advancement, it can evolve, adapt, and even inspire the technologies that replace it. Jeep's engineers knew they were building something fleeting, a vehicle that could not last forever under the weight of modern regulation. But fleeting things often matter most. The Rubicon 392 reminds us that significance is not measured in longevity but in impact. Every time its tires claw through mud or sand, every echo of its exhaust bouncing off canyon walls, it reinforces a timeless truth: adventure is not about distance, but experience. For the Jeep brand, the 392 is a final symphony of combustion, a way to honor what made the Wrangler iconic before electric evolution reshapes the landscape. When those electric models arrive, they will carry pieces of this legacy within their circuitry, the confidence, the independence, the raw sense of purpose that defines the Wrangler spirit. That is how legacy works, it transforms rather than disappears. For enthusiasts, the Rubicon 392 is a collectible, a machine worth remembering not for excess but for honesty. It admits what it is, unapologetically mechanical, defiantly emotional, and profoundly human in its imperfection. For the broader world, it is a reminder that progress need not erase history, it can build upon it. When we look back on this vehicle years from now, we will see it not as a contradiction, but as a connector. It bridges the gap between fuel and current, between roar and whisper, between tradition and transformation. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392-2024 is a love letter to motion itself, a celebration of mechanical soul at the edge of a digital age. And for anyone who believes that machines can still feel alive, it is proof that the end of an era can sound just as exciting as its beginning. Thank you for watching. If this journey through power and purpose resonated with you, like the video, subscribe for more stories of engineering legends, and tell us in the comments which icon deserves the spotlight next. Adventure is evolving, but it still starts with curiosity.